Greetings fellow Decepticons, I'm Blaster1987 here with another Shadowvember 2024 video. For my next animation review, I'll be looking back at literally the only 2, or technically 3 episodes that Shadow appears in the Sonic Boom TV show. For those who don't know, Sonic Boom was a 2014 or so animated series designed to tie in with the Sonic Boom video game trilogy at the time. The one where Sonic, Tails and Knuckles were covered in sports tape and Tails wore goggles similar to Dr. Eggman, and there was a new character called Sticks the Badger added to Team Sonic. Now, in this series, Shadow was a recurring boss fight in the video games, but only appeared in the season finales of the TV show. Season 1's It Takes a Village to Defeat a Hedgehog, and the 2-part Season 2 finale, Dr. Eggman the video game. In It Takes a Village to Defeat a Hedgehog, Shadow begrudgingly joins Dr. Eggman's attempt to make an alliance with all the other minor villains of the show to get revenge on Sonic and his team all at once, in a coordinated, overwhelming with sheer numbers kind of attack strategy. However, Shadow is a lot more of a lone wolf sort of thing, or lone hedgehog I suppose, in this series, so he would prefer to take on Sonic his own way and leave Eggman out of it. He literally only teamed up with Eggman just to give him proximity to Sonic for his next fight with him. And, of course, Shadow still doesn't trust Eggman, as nobody should, in my opinion. But this version of Shadow always seems to be more sort of aggressive and distrustful of other life forms, and voiced once again by Kirk Thornton, who's been the voice of Shadow the Hedgehog since Sonic Generations. And, of course, he was recently replaced by Keanu Reeves in the live-action Sonic movie and by Ian Hanlon in the Sonic Prime TV show, which I mentioned before. But yes, Sonic and Shadow had a sort of one-on-one battle at the end of It Takes a Village to Defeat a Hedgehog. Then, in the Season 2 episode, Dr. Eggman the Video Game Part 1, basically, Dr. Eggman sets up Shadow for a confrontation with Team Sonic by filming an interview with Sonic about Sonic's opinions of Shadow as part of his Dr. Eggman the video game type of thing. And then he basically doctors and cuts around the footage of his interview with Sonic, asking questions about his opinions of Shadow. So Shadow would get angry with Sonic for the things that he allegedly said in this interview, even though it was clearly edited together hastily to make it looked like Sonic was bad-mouthing Shadow more than he actually was. This caused Shadow to want to track down Team Sonic and have a one-on-one confrontation yet again with Sonic. But one of the main things that confuses me about the Boom depiction of Shadow is there's no mention or presence anywhere of the franchise of the Chaos Emeralds, so how can Shadow still teleport with Chaos Control? I mean, granted he doesn't say Chaos Control, he just teleports in and out like Skywalk from a Transformers line, especially the way that the Transformers Earthspark version of Skywalk teleports, but yes, that's another thing that happened with the Sonic Prime version of Shadow as well. Although he did have the Chaos Emeralds in Sonic Prime, he just teleported without them like it was no big deal for most of the series. But yes, going back to Sonic Boom, Eggman wanted to use video footage of Shadow's battle with Sonic to superimpose his character skin of himself, Dr. Eggman, over Shadow's movements to make it look like Eggman was the one fighting Sonic as part of his video game cutscene footage. Same with the banter between Amy, Knuckles, Tails, Sticks and Shadow during the initial confrontation before Sonic turned up, which was the main focus of Dr. Eggman the Video Game Part 2. Where basically Tails, Knuckles, Amy and Sticks were hanging out at Meth Burger, the sort of burger restaurant type area of the Sonic Boom series, when Shadow ambushed them because he was still angry at Sonic for the things that he thought Sonic said about him in the video that Eggman showed him, even though Sonic later cleared things up by basically explaining to Shadow that Eggman had doctored the footage. Because, you know, Dr. Eggman, but still. Despite being arch enemies with Sonic at this point, Shadow still begrudgingly teamed up with Sonic to get revenge on Eggman for besmirching both their reputations. Although Shadow basically still declared that they were still enemies despite teaming up against Eggman in this instance, and that they would battle again soon on Shadow's terms. But, of course, with the end of the series and no Season 3, this never happened outside of the boss fights in the Sonic Boom Fire and Ice game, which came out after the end of the series. I think Shadow the Hedgehog is a woefully underused character in the Sonic Boom continuity, and I wish that they'd come back to the franchise at some point, were it not for all the glitches that made Knuckles fly and all that kind of stuff. So, with that said, that concludes my animation review, and that'll be my last animation review for Shadow of Ember, because, let's face it, Shadow the Hedgehog hasn't appeared in any other cartoons apart from this. So, thanks again for watching. I've been Sandblaster1987. My next videos for Shadow of Ember will be a look back at Sonic Adventure 2, the video game for PC, for my second video game review. And then, following on from that, my final video for this month will be the history of Team Dark, from Dr. Eggman to Rouge the Bat to Shadow the Hedgehog and E-123 Omega, and their partnership with the GUN government military faction and beyond. Till then, till all are one. Chaos Control!